Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to speak about one of the most profound desires that human beings have, the desire for love and companionship. But I am here to challenge your understanding of love today, to help you recognize the deeper purpose behind it, and to guide you in discerning whether the desire you feel for a partner is truly from God or if it is born out of your own fleshly desires. As we walk through this life, we are presented with many choices, many opportunities, and many paths to follow. But as believers, we are called to live with intention. We are called to seek God's will in all things, even in matters of the heart. Love at its purest form is not just an emotion. It is a divine force that has been placed in us by our Creator, and He desires to guide us in choosing the right relationships. So how do we know when our desire for a partner is aligned with His will? How can we be sure that the person we long for is a part of God's greater plan for our lives? First, we must understand that God is the source of all true love. He is the one who designed us to connect with others in a way that reflects His nature. His plans for us are never random. They are always intentional, always purposeful. When God brings a person into your life, it is not by accident. It is because He has a plan for that person, for you, and for the relationship you will share. If your desire for someone is truly from God, it will be grounded in His purpose for your life. It will be a desire that aligns with His kingdom, His calling, and His eternal plan. The second sign that your desire for a partner is from God is the peace of God that accompanies it. When we are walking in alignment with God's will, there is a deep peace that transcends our understanding. This peace is a confirmation that you are in the right place at the right time. If the desire you have for someone is leading you into confusion, anxiety, or turmoil, it is time to pause and examine whether that desire is truly from God. God does not lead us into chaos. His peace is a powerful indicator that you are following His direction. Third, when God brings someone into your life, that relationship will spur you on to greater spiritual growth. God does not call us into relationships that will keep us stagnant or hinder our spiritual progress. The person He has in mind for you will encourage you, challenge you, and lead you closer to Him. A true God-ordained relationship is one that helps you fulfill your divine purpose. If a relationship is drawing you away from God, causing you to compromise your values, or keeping you from your calling, it may not be aligned with His will. But when the right person comes into your life, you will find that together you can grow, you can serve, and you can impact the world for His glory. Next, we must understand the importance of patience. God's timing is perfect. When the desire for a partner is rooted in His will, it will not be rushed or forced. You will not feel the need to hurry the process because you know that God's timing is always perfect. Waiting on God requires trust. It requires surrender. It requires the belief that His plans for your life are far greater than your own plans. So if you are truly seeking God's will in your relationships, you must be willing to wait for His timing. When you wait on God, He will never disappoint you. Finally, we must look at the fruits of the Spirit in the relationship. When the desire for someone is from God, the relationship will bear good fruit. The love you share will not be selfish or fleeting. It will be rooted in the love of Christ. There will be joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are the qualities that will define your connection, and they will be a reflection of God's nature. If your relationship is filled with strife, manipulation, or selfishness, then it may not be from God. But when you and your partner are both walking in the fruits of the Spirit, you will know that you are truly aligned with God's will. My friends, the desire for a partner is a beautiful and powerful thing, but it is important that we align that desire with God's will. Ask yourself these questions. Does this relationship draw me closer to God? Does it help me fulfill His purpose for my life? Do I experience His peace in this relationship? Am I willing to wait on His perfect timing? Does this relationship bear the fruit of the Spirit? If you can answer yes to these questions, then you are on the right path. Trust that God's plans for your love life are always better than your own. His love for you is boundless, and when you seek His will, He will lead you to the right person at the right time. Remember, God's plan for your love life is always more than just a relationship. It's a divine connection designed to help you grow, fulfill your purpose, and bring glory to His name. Keep your eyes on Him, trust His timing, and rest in the peace that He will guide you every step of the way. May you be blessed in your journey of love, trust, and divine alignment. When we speak of desire, especially the desire for a partner, we are not merely talking about a fleeting emotional longing or a wishful thinking that arises from human desire. We are speaking of something far deeper, something that transcends the natural realm and connects us to the divine. This desire, when aligned with God's will, is not just a craving for companionship or affection. It is the manifestation of God's greater purpose for your life. It is His divine hand stirring your heart to seek a connection that will reflect His love, His wisdom, and His grace. The foundation of divine desire begins with the understanding that God is the ultimate source of all things good, including love. In the very beginning, when God created man and woman, He did not simply create them to exist side by side. No, He created them for a divine purpose. He said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." This is not just a statement about physical companionship. It is a declaration that relationships are central to God's plan for humanity. Love was not our idea, it was His. And the desire for connection is not a mistake. It is part of the divine design. God, in His infinite wisdom, placed within us the capacity to love and to long for meaningful relationships. These desires are a reflection of His image within us. But here's the key: our desires must be rooted in God's greater plan. Too often we chase after relationships that seem to promise happiness or fulfillment, but which ultimately leave us empty. This is because those desires are disconnected from the source of true fulfillment, God Himself. You see, God desires to be the foundation of every longing in your heart. When He is the source of your desire for a partner, that desire becomes something much greater than just a longing for companionship. It becomes an intentional pursuit of His purpose. The desire to connect with someone is no longer just about finding a companion, but about finding someone who will walk alongside you in fulfilling the divine calling that God has placed on your life. When your desire for a partner is founded on God, it shifts the very nature of that desire. It is no longer about satisfying your own needs or desires. It becomes a desire to fulfill God's will. It is a longing not just for companionship, but for a divine union that will help you grow closer to your Creator and to the purpose He has placed on your life. In this way, your heart aligns with God's heart. You begin to understand that the desire you feel is not just for a person, it is for a partnership that reflects the love of Christ. A relationship that strengthens your faith, and one that propels both of you toward the destiny that God has designed for you. God's will for your life is never haphazard. Every step you take, every desire you feel, every relationship you encounter has a divine purpose. The foundation of divine desire recognizes that everything, yes, even your longing for love, is part of God's perfect plan for you. He is not a distant observer of your life, watching from afar as you navigate the complexities of relationships. He is intimately involved in every aspect of your being, including the desires of your heart. The Bible reminds us, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." This is not a promise that God will give you anything you want, but that He will shape your desires to align with His will. When your desire for a partner is rooted in God, It is a desire that will never lead you astray. The foundation of divine desire also calls you to trust in God's perfect timing. So often we want things to happen on our terms. We rush, we push, we take matters into our own hands. But when you understand that your desires are rooted in God's purpose, you learn to wait. You learn to trust that God knows what is best for you, that He sees what you cannot see, and that His timing is always perfect. You begin to rest in the assurance that God has already orchestrated every detail of your life, including the relationships that will help you fulfill your divine purpose. God's foundation for divine desire transforms the way we view love. It elevates it beyond a mere human longing and turns it into a holy pursuit. It becomes a reflection of the very love that God has for His people, a sacrificial, unconditional love that seeks the good of others before itself. When God is the foundation of your desire for a partner, you do not look for someone to complete you. Instead, you look for someone who will join you in fulfilling God's plan for both of your lives. It's no longer about finding someone who simply satisfies your emotional needs. It's about finding a partner who will walk with you in alignment with God's purpose. And when you walk in this kind of love, you will experience a fulfillment that nothing else can offer, a peace that surpasses understanding, and a connection that is rooted not in the temporary, but in the eternal. When your desires are aligned with God's will, your heart becomes a vessel for His love and His purpose. Every longing you feel, every desire for connection becomes an opportunity for you to seek His will, to grow in faith, and to partner with someone who will help you fulfill the divine destiny He has set before you. That is the foundation of divine desire, a desire that is not self-serving but God-serving, not rooted in temporary satisfaction but in eternal purpose. It is a desire that reflects God's love, His timing, His wisdom, and His calling for your life. When we talk about peace in our lives, we are not simply referring to the absence of conflict. No, the peace that comes from God is far deeper than that. It is a peace that transcends understanding, a peace that stands firm even in the midst of life's storms. This peace is a confirmation that God is in control, and when it enters our hearts, we know without a shadow of a doubt that we are exactly where we are meant to be. When we are discerning the desires of our hearts, especially when it comes to relationships, this peace is not just a feeling, it is a spiritual compass. There are times when we may feel drawn to a particular person, and it's important to ask ourselves, is this desire from God, or is it coming from my own emotions, my own wants, my own timing? There may be moments of uncertainty, and that's natural. But in those moments, God gives us His peace to confirm that His will is at work. I want you to understand something very clearly. When God is in something, there is peace. It's not the kind of peace that comes from rushing ahead or pushing things forward on your own. It is a peace that reassures your heart that you are walking in the right direction, even if the path is not entirely clear. The peace that comes from God settles deep within you, beyond your emotions, beyond your circumstances. It's a peace that speaks to your spirit. It says, this is right, this is the way. Trust me. When you are seeking a relationship that aligns with God's will, His peace is the greatest confirmation you can receive. You will know that this person, this connection is from Him when the peace you feel is steady, unwavering, and persistent. Even if the world around you may be in chaos, even if the people around you may question or doubt, that peace will anchor you. It will be a stillness within you that assures you God is with you, leading you, guiding you. But I want to caution you, my friends, peace is not the same as comfort. God's peace does not always make things easy. It doesn't always mean the road will be smooth or free from challenges. In fact, the peace of God can exist even in the midst of difficulties. It's not about everything being perfect, but about knowing that in the midst of the uncertainty, God is present. You can feel peace even in the waiting and the trust in the process, because you know that His timing is perfect. And let me tell you, when that peace fills your heart, it will be the confirmation you need. It will confirm that God is involved in this relationship, guiding it, protecting it, and leading it toward His purpose. This peace will affirm that your desires align with His will. You will not need to force anything. You will not need to manipulate or rush ahead. You will simply follow the peace that leads you step by step, knowing that as you seek God's guidance, He is faithful to direct you. That peace is the signature of God's presence in your life. It is a supernatural reassurance that what you are feeling is not just a passing emotion, but a divine invitation to step into a relationship that is ordained by God. When peace follows you and confirms your every step, you can rest in the assurance that you are walking in alignment with God's plan for you. So as you journey through life, seeking love, seeking connection, seeking a partner, let the peace of God be your guide. When there is peace, there is confirmation. When there is peace, there is trust. And when there is peace, there is divine alignment as God leads you into relationships that not only fulfill your heart, but also fulfill His eternal purpose for your life. As we walk through life, we often find ourselves asking questions about our purpose, our direction, and the deep desires that stir within us. These questions are natural, for we are spiritual beings on a journey to discover not just who we are, but why we are here. The desire for a partner, when it is aligned with God's will, is not just about finding companionship, it is about fulfilling a greater spiritual purpose. A relationship that is truly from God will always push you closer to His divine calling, drawing you deeper into the person He has destined you to be. When God brings someone into your life, it is not for mere emotional fulfillment or temporary joy. No, His plan is always bigger. He sees the whole picture, the destiny He has crafted for you, the unique role you are to play in His kingdom. The person He places alongside you will not just be someone to share in your joy, but will challenge you, stretch you, and encourage you to grow spiritually in ways you may never have imagined. You see, when a relationship is from God, it is a partnership that pushes both individuals to become more like Christ. It is about mutual growth, both spiritually and in every area of life. A God-ordained relationship will stir something inside you that makes you want to become the best version of yourself, not for selfish reasons, but for the glory of God. It will not only make you feel loved, but it will ignite within you a deeper passion for His word, His ways, and His will for your life. A true partner, one that God has designed for you, will never settle for you staying where you are. They will encourage you to step into the fullness of your purpose. They will challenge you to rise above your limitations, to conquer fears that have held you back, and to take steps of faith that you would have never taken alone. There are times when God uses relationships to refine us, to purify our hearts, and to mold us into the person He always intended us to be. It's easy to be comfortable and complacent in our walk with God when we are alone. But when another person enters our life, someone who is walking with us in faith, things begin to change. Suddenly we are held accountable in new ways. We are called to extend grace when we feel we have no more to give. We are called to forgive when bitterness would be so much easier. We are challenged to love deeper, to pray harder, and to trust more completely. But this is the beauty of God's design. He doesn't just want us to live for ourselves. He wants us to experience His fullness, and that fullness comes through service, through sacrifice, and through the surrender of our own desires for His higher purpose. In this way, a relationship from God is never about mere companionship. It is about fulfillment. It is about discovering that the two of you together are walking out His plan for the world in ways you could never have done alone. You become partners in purpose, vessels through which God's love and power flow into the world around you. When you are in alignment with God's will in a relationship, there will be a sense of divine purpose that goes beyond feelings and fleeting moments of joy. There will be an underlying strength, a steady growth, and an assurance that you are walking out the very calling God has placed on your life. This kind of partnership doesn't just support you spiritually, it empowers you to reach others, to build the kingdom, and to be a testimony of God's faithfulness and His transformative power. In a relationship that is aligned with God's purpose, the growth is not just internal, it is outward, touching every part of your life. You begin to see the world differently, and your relationship becomes a vessel for ministry. Together, you are not just growing in your love for each other, but also in your capacity to serve others, to pray for others, and to be a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs it. True spiritual growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from being stretched. It comes from stepping into the unknown, trusting that God is in control and that He will guide you. And this is the essence of a God-ordained relationship, two people walking by faith, growing together, and fulfilling God's plan for their lives. If the relationship you are in or the one you desire is from God, it will not keep you stagnant. It will lead you closer to your Creator, your purpose, and to the fullness of life that only He can provide. Patience is not a passive act. It is an active expression of trust in God's divine timing. Too often we find ourselves caught up in the pressure of the world where everything is fast-paced, instant, and urgent. We want things to happen on our timetable, particularly when it comes to relationships. But God is not concerned with our schedule. He operates in a dimension of time far greater than our own. His timing is perfect, always precise, and always in harmony with His purpose for us. Patience in relationships is about more than waiting. It is about waiting with purpose. It is about knowing that while you wait, God is working in you and in the person He is preparing for you. When we understand this, waiting no longer feels like a burden. It becomes a process of preparation. You are not simply marking time. You are allowing God to develop in you the character, wisdom, and strength that will sustain you in the relationship He has for you. Waiting patiently for God's best is a sign of maturity. It is a test of whether we trust God enough to relinquish control and surrender our desires to His will. When we are eager to rush things, we often find ourselves settling for less than what God has planned for us. We may be blinded by the temporary satisfaction of a relationship that isn't aligned with God's purpose, only to experience the heartbreak and disappointment that follow when it falls apart. But when we wait on God, we are waiting for something far greater, a relationship that is built on His foundation, filled with His peace and guided by His wisdom. Patience also refines us. It teaches us to be still and trust in God's sovereignty. The journey of waiting is not just about the destination, it is about the transformation that happens in us while we wait. God uses this time to shape our hearts, to align our desires with His will, and to prepare us to be the partner that He has called us to be. We must learn to love ourselves in the waiting period, to grow spiritually, and to live in such a way that when the right person comes into our lives, we are ready spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. During the waiting period, it is important to remember that God is never inactive. Even when we cannot see what He is doing, He is at work orchestrating things in the unseen realm. God knows exactly who you need and when you need them. He is crafting the perfect timing and the perfect circumstances for you to meet the person who will align with His will for your life. And while you wait, He is refining your heart, building your faith, and preparing you to recognize His perfect plan when it arrives. Patience is also a sign of your confidence in God's love. When you know that God loves you with an everlasting love, you are not afraid to wait. You are not anxious or desperate because you trust that He is good and He has good plans for you. His love is so deep, so abundant, that it ensures His best will always come to you at the right time. God's love for you is constant and unshakable, and it is in this love that you find the peace to wait with joy, knowing that He has never forgotten you and never will. When you wait on God, you are not merely biding your time. You are actively positioning yourself to receive the fullness of what He has in store for you. You are allowing your heart to be prepared for the love that will come, a love that is founded on His eternal truth, a love that will carry you through every season of life. The test of patience is not a waiting period of passivity or frustration. It is an act of faith. It is the test of whether you truly believe that God's ways are higher than your own, that His timing is perfect, and that His love is enough to fill every longing in your heart. Patience is not just about waiting for the right relationship to come into your life. It is about trusting that God's plan is greater than your own desires. His timing is perfect, and His love is more than enough to fulfill every longing in your heart. While the world may pressure us to rush, to settle, and to take matters into our own hands, we must remember that God is not in a hurry. He is preparing us, refining us, and orchestrating everything according to His divine purpose. So as you wait, don't just pass the time, grow in it. Let God work in you. Let Him deepen your trust and strengthen your faith. And when the time comes, you will not only find the partner He has chosen for you, but you will be prepared to love, lead, and live in a relationship that reflects His will. Trust in His perfect timing, rest in His love, and know that what God has in store for you is beyond what you could ever imagine. Patience is not the absence of action, but the active faith in knowing that God is at work in your life, and when His plan unfolds, it will be more beautiful than anything you could have ever rushed toward.